George Santos has been officially expelled from Congress. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the GOP House Rep from New York, George Santos, officially being expelled from Congress after more than 2/3 of the House voted to get him out. And the official numbers, we have 311 who voted yay, 114 nay, with 105 Republicans voting yay, which is almost about half of the Republicans in the House. Now, this is kind of unprecedented territory. The last guy who was expelled before him actually got convicted of crimes and got locked up before he was expelled. George Santos, in case you don't quite remember, he has just been accused of some things like taking money from the campaign and buying inappropriate things like OnlyFans subscriptions and name brand clothing and credit card debt and things of this nature. But there's been no conviction. There was an ethics report, but that's about it. Now, the GOP, I criticized them quite a bit. And in this case, I think they deserve some more criticism. But you know what? I give them a little bit of credit. They're good at removing members of their own party from positions of power. They're good at removing guys from Congress. They're good at removing speakers of the House and then putting a guy who's just the same as the previous guy in there. But before I go any further, let's get into a news clip. If you want to see this clip in full without my commentary, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
So with that, Santos is now a former member of Congress. He is the sixth member of the House to be expelled in all of American history. Here are the other five. You could add Santos.
Now, you see this right here? You got these guys with these old 1800s hairstyles, haircuts, facial hair. John Clark, Missouri, 1861. John W. Reed, Missouri, also 1861. This is like Civil War time. Henry Burnett, Kentucky, 61. Michael Myers, Pennsylvania. I'm not quite sure when that is. I'm seeing more volume on top. That might be a little bit more of a modern hairstyle. James Traficant, the last guy to get expelled in Ohio, that was 2002, which is, and I'm no mathematician, 21 years ago. Let's keep on going.
To this list and just think about the gravity of what it took to expel these members in the past. These three you see in the top row here, all 1861. That was the start of the Civil War. Each one of them took up arms for the Confederacy. They were expelled from the House. Michael Myers from Pennsylvania in 1980. He had been snared in the FBI sting operation known as Abscam, accepted a $50,000 bribe, refused to resign his seat. He was expelled. And then in 2002, James Traficant from Ohio, colorful member of Congress. He had been convicted of multiple federal corruption charges in the spring of 2002. In the summer of 2002, the House voted 420-1 to expel him. So those are the five who this has happened to before. Santos becomes the sixth. There are a few others in history who have faced expulsion votes but haven't actually been expelled. Santos was hoping to join this company today, but it is this list instead that he joins. Six in American history. You just saw the sixth moments ago.
So there we go. That's what's happening. That's the context right there. Now, he spoke about James Traficant. That's him right here. He was the last guy expelled prior to George Santos, and he had been convicted of quite a few things, like he said, in the summer of 2002 before he was expelled. Now, this is a good tweet from Charlie Kirk. This kind of puts it all in perspective. And shout out to Charlie, the triple OG. He says, Congress can't impeach Mayorkas, who is single-handedly destroying America by allowing 10 million, which is a conservative number in my opinion, 10 million illegal aliens and countless terrorists to break into America, flooding our schools, our cities, and our hospitals with the third world. But never fear. Republicans expelled George Santos because of OnlyFans and Botox. And remember, like I was saying in the beginning, he allegedly took some campaign money and was spending it on inappropriate things like Botox and OnlyFans subscriptions and Ferragamo sunshades and designer jewelry and clothing, things of this nature, credit card debt. Anyway, how about brother lover Ilhan Omar? And I speak about Ilhan Omar all the time. I'm going to just pause for a minute on this Ilhan Omar topic. This is a really good one. And I think the difference, as I said in previous videos, between what George Santos did and what Ilhan Omar and the rest of them do is that he just didn't have his lawyer game ready. But they all do the same thing. They siphon campaign money and they put it in their own pocket. It's just a matter of how do you do it, legally or illegally. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Ilhan Omar, brother lover, he's saying that because she was allegedly married to her own brother legally, because that was a way for him to get U.S. citizenship. Okay. When Ilhan Omar was a child, she was an actual refugee in Somalia. And she was rescued by a Christian family, by the way, a white Christian family. But anyway, she was rescued by the family and they were taken out of the refugee camp. Half of the family was able to go to the U.S. while the other half went to UK. So allegedly, she married her brother who was in the UK. So he was able to leave UK and come to the US. That's the allegation. And then she did get married to this white guy, most dangerous guy on earth, apparently, to some of them. She got married to the guy by the name of Tim Minette, who was a consultant for her campaign. Now, at one point, allegedly, and I'm saying that quite a bit because y'all know legal reasons, allegedly 70% of her campaign money went to Tim Minette. Now, if she was just to take 70% of the campaign money and put it in her pocket directly, that'd be considered some kind of fraud. And that could be a criminal accusation. That could be a criminal penalty. But because you give the money to your consultant, it's all good. It doesn't matter if he gives it right back to you because that's your husband and also you're a consultant. You're doing things by the book. Although that's definitely unethical. It's unethical to say the least, but as long as it's legal, it's no problem. There's no punishment. There's no penalty. But George Santos does the exact same thing, just not through the same process. All of a sudden, he's the worst guy on planet Earth in the GOP, rather than trying to get some of this ridiculous loopholes and whatnot closed up in Congress. We're focused on getting him out of office before he even gets convicted, let alone having an actual trial to determine guilt or innocence. But let's see the rest of it here. How about magic stock picker Nancy Pelosi? That's something else. That's called insider trading. Martha Stewart, the white lady, got locked up for that. But if you are in Congress, you are a powerful person like Nancy Pelosi, it's no big deal. You could do whatever you want to do. George Santos, Martha Stewart, other people, hey man, you're not part of the club. You don't have the protection. It is what it is. Maxine, I have my whole family on payroll. Waters. One thing Maxine Waters did was take campaign money and pay her daughter to do flyers and things of this nature. Now, at one point, I was a graphic designer. I've printed and designed and shipped flyers for many, many years. I know it didn't cost millions of dollars to do it, but allegedly that's how much money that she's given to her family, at least her daughter. And her husband sits on the board of a bank. It gets really deep once you look into it. The corruption in Washington, D.C. is deep. Rashida Tlaib, Jamal Bowman, Bob Mendez, Adam Schiff, the list goes on. He continues, every one of these cowards who voted to expel Santos should get an immediate audit from the ethics committee into their personal lives. All voters want is a GOP that fights as hard as everyday citizens do. You know what? Just fight as hard on things that matter, like passing meaningful legislation, reducing the country's debt, getting us out of supporting a bunch of foreign wars, at least on the financial end. Do things like that in the House. Better yet, how about gaining some more power in government? How about gaining the Senate? How about gaining the White House? How about the GOP? Actually, well, the RNC and the GOP, but definitely in this case, the RNC. How about the RNC update themselves beyond 1984 politics? Let's get into the present year, 2023. These old school tactics are not going to work anymore. You can't keep relying upon your 70, 80, 90, 100-year-old constituency. You got to be able to get the entire country on board, or at least attempt to make an effort. Don't just let the Democrats get the young people. Like, they're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're dancing and singing and carrying on. What are we doing? We're focused on getting out guys like George Santos before he's even had a trial date and gone through that whole process, let alone a conviction. But as I close, I want to say this. I'm not saying it was the wrong thing to get George Santos out the way. I'm not saying it's wrong, but look at what the other side does. I mean, at a certain point, I'm not just going to say, well, they do it, we should be able to do it too. But we got to keep our eyes on the prize. Let the trial process play out and then get him out the way. But maybe they wanted to just get ahead of it so it wouldn't be an embarrassing trial process. And I don't know. Really, he could have just resigned and that would have been all she wrote. But I guess this is more important than getting meaningful legislation passed. You just want to save face. You don't want to get embarrassed. I don't think the embarrassment would really be a big deal if we had more control in the government. If we did more things to actually win the elections, we wouldn't be trying to catch up from behind and put out little fires like this that don't really do anything to help us advance the party and our message forward. In my humble opinion, at least. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on the GOP expelling George Santos? Are you for it, against it? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I think he should have been removed from office. I would have liked for him to just resign and just fall back rather than forcing this to happen. But if we're going to do stuff like this, let's look at other things. Okay, you got 10 for the big guy. We have a lot of evidence against Joe Biden. We have the impeachment inquiry hearing. It's like a dog and pony show at best. You know it won't go anywhere. And then it's like, well, do we just not have evidence, or are these people, are they being controlled? Are they being told to not really do anything? Are they being told to not take anything seriously? You're able to get George Santos out with no conviction, just an ethics report, and you see some allegations and say, okay, that's enough to get him out the way. But Joe Biden, we see clear evidence. I mean, we got the picture of the documents right there by the Corvette in the garage. It's pretty much open to the public. No big deal there. But then when it comes to Trump, everybody wants to clutch their pearls over documents held in the bathroom at Mar-a-Lago, which is much more secure than that garage with the Corvette. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.